Okay, welcome to the very unofficial book club that I am starting by myself in my room because I'm bored. Oh my gosh, cute. I am Kiana, and these are the books I've read so far this year. I've read 11, which I think is pretty good considering that last year I read 11 books in the entire year. Anyways, let's get into it. Okay, okie doke. I'm a little camera shy, so this is kind of awkward, but the first book I read this year in January was Six of Crows. This is a reread for me. I reread it, I read it in 2022. I was getting back into reading, and I was on Book Talk. That's what got me back into reading, was Book Talk, and it was getting really popular, and everybody was, and their mama was recommending Six of Crows. So probably if you're reading this, or if you're watching this video, you've read it or you've heard of it in some capacity. It is about 6 people who are living on this island, one of which, who's kind of the operator of the entire thing, is a 17-year-old boy gang leader. Of course he's not the official gang leader. There's an older guy, but he's calling all the shots. He's a child, and he gets approached by this merchant who's on the council of merchants, I don't know, and the merchant basically says, hey, look, I need you to kidnap someone for me. I will give you $6 million if you go and kidnap this person for me. They are a threat, and I need them in my custody. And it turns out that this person is being held in one of the most prolific and high security prisons in the entire world. It's not even on the island that they're living on. It's in a whole different continent. And so he needs money. He's in love with wealth and power, and so he's I'm gonna do it. So he assembles a team of 6 people, and they go and they do a heist. They steal a person from a very high security prison, and it's so good. I reread it because I really I don't remember what I had read the year before, but it had put me in a slump. I was so over it. I didn't want to read anything. And I was this, I know I can get through this very quickly. I know what's going to happen. I already love the characters. It's not much of a commitment. I know the twists. But I love this book. I think that if you want a book that's just straight vibes, found family, really interesting interpersonal relationships with each other and with money and power and liberation, I think this is such a good read. I will say it is a little corny. I'm not, just because it's nostalgic, I'm not delusional. There were a lot of times in this book where I was literally cringing, because when I read it in 2022, I was this is amazing. This is the best book known to man. But as a few years have gone by, I've read a lot more books, and yeah, it was a little bit corny. It was a tad corny, but it is vibes, and it is good. I think most people have read this, so, but if you haven't, and you like fantasy, highly recommend. I think that the other series was not as good, but who gives a F, whatever. Okay, so the next book I read was The Dragon Republic, and I actually ended up finishing the series. I also finished The Burning God. I did not read them one after the other. I think I would have died of depression. But I don't, oh shit. Smooth, so smooth, oh my god. So smooth. Anyways, I'm back. I don't want to get too much into both of these books and the plot, just because I think in and of itself, since it's the second and third book of the series, they're spoilers. It would, even this book especially is literally a walking spoiler. Just even the people that she's with the majority of the book, I couldn't even say the plot without revealing something about who she's teaming with, who she's pairing up with in this book. And so I am just going to say the plot of The Poppy War, which is a dark historical family coup. It's a dark historical fantasy based on 20th century China. And it follows our main character, Rin, who is living in the South, and she's under the care of this family who has raised her since she was a baby, but she is a war orphan. They have made it very clear they are not her blood family. Nobody knows where she came from. She just kind of turned up on their doorstep. They took her in, but they are dreadful. They are dreadful people. They're not very nice to her. And she's not very wealthy. I wouldn't say that she is struggling. Her country at this point is kind of in a peacetime right now. They just came off of the second Poppy War. I don't remember which was which. It's a whole bunch of history. One of the Poppy Wars was Civil War, and then one of the Poppy Wars was a war against occupation. And so Rin, her as a child that she is right now, she's kind of in peacetime, and so she's not living a horrible life, but it's really not good either. And her aunt is getting ready to make her into a child bride at this point. Oh my god, it's falling again. Okay, threw it on my bed. Her aunt is getting ready to make her into a child bride, and she doesn't want to do that. She's like 13. She's like, I'm over it. And really the only way out for her, because of her circumstance, you know, she's too poor to move away from her situation, and really she's a child, so she doesn't have much of an option. And she decides that the only way to get out is to go to Singard, which is a war academy, but it's very hard to get into. It's in the north. Oh my god, I'm having such camera troubles. I don't remember where I was. She decides to go to this military school, Singard, where you have to take a standardized test to get in. And because she's very poor, she doesn't really have the resources to like be able to study to do well. Like, it's a very sucky system where most of the only people who are getting into the school are rich people who would already have been affluent because they have the tutoring necessary, and people train their whole lives for this test. But through sheer willpower and determination, she gets in, and she then has to balance being someone who is more brown-skinned and poor in the north, where a lot of people are a lot paler and a lot richer. She also has to figure out what is going on because she's getting powers. She's got powers, y'all. And so as the Federation, which is troops, which is a whole other country, is marching in on Nicara, which is her country, she is forced into war while she's still figuring herself out, and these powers that she is and her history. And it's just so good. I think you can tell from the vibe. It's very big book series, a lot of big ideas, but it's really good, and I would recommend it. Even though I think the second and the third book really do have their problems, the first book is perfect in my opinion. It's everything I want from a fantasy, and even like it was just worth it. And I couldn't put these books down, and I think that's what counts. I had a lot of fun. Vibes. It is dark. Trigger warning. They're like, research the trigger warnings for your own health, because it is dark, it is scary, and it is at times really sad and very tragic. The next book that I read was Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. Wow. This is my favorite book of the year so far. This book is everybody needs to read this book. Everyone should read this book. It was recommended to me and lent to me by a friend, and I was so skeptical because I don't like romance. I don't like romance. I can't stand it. I loved this. I read this in like 2 days. It was so good. This is a romance about a girl who is Chinese living in, I want to say the 50s or 60s, San Francisco. Let me look. I don't trust myself. 1954, San Francisco in Chinatown, which is, you know, not the best place to be if you are queer or Asian, because this is very much when the Red Scare was going around. Everyone was paranoid about communism, and it follows the main character, Lily, while she is kind of discovering who she is and her sexuality, and also the world around her and how it is shifting and changing. She's kind of obsessed with this club called the Telegraph Club, where she saw an ad for this guy who's like a male, or it's a girl, but it's like a male impersonator, which they used to have in the 50s. I didn't know this. Apparently in the 1950s there were male impersonators who were pretty much just like masked lesbians who like sang male songs and wore masks. And she's kind of like obsessed with this club, and she wants to go very bad. And it happens that one of the girls in her class has been there, and they're teenagers, and the girl's like, I can get you a fake ID, like we can go. And so they go, and they kind of explore what it is to be queer. I really liked it. And they're also, Lily, the main character, is also kind of grappling with like what it is like at this point in US history. Both of her dad is an immigrant from China who is struggling with his citizenship because of government officials being paranoid about communism, and even though her dad has nothing to do with it, like they just want an excuse to deport people. What's new? But it was so good. I really liked, my problem I think with a lot of romance is that I need some type of like other plot. Like I can't do it when it's just, you just get thrown into these characters and then suddenly like they're kissing and you don't know anything about them. I love that this book took the time to build Lily's character and build the life around her and make you like her without her love interest before then introducing it to her. And it's wonderful. It's definitely a coming of age. Trust. Pick it up. If you want a book that is just a romance that is so good. Last night at the Telegraph Club. After that, I read Fourth Wing. Okay. It's a new day. I had to go to work and I really needed a nap, and it was like 3:00. I had to go. I was like, I need a nap. Went to work, burned the shit out of my hand. Wow. It hurt so bad. I felt so embarrassed because I was freaking out. I was like freaking out at work. I burned it. I'm not gonna lie, I've never experienced like burn pain before. So the fact that it was, or I have, but like not on this scale. Ew. It's so gross. And it was burning even after I touched it. And that was what was tweaking me out, because I was like, is it ever gonna end? And it didn't. I went to bed, it was still burning. I woke up, it's chill now, thankfully, but like I was so scared that I was just gonna be burning day and night. Luckily I put aloe on it. Apparently mustard helps with burns. The cook that I was with at the time said that worked, and I tried it and it does, but it smells nasty, and I much prefer aloe. I have like on my bedstand just like an open thing of aloe, but I'm so embarrassed because I was like in shock. I was like, what? Anyways, like I said before this video cut, I read Fourth Wing. Yeah, I did. And I just would like to know, you people, I don't have a physical copy, I read it online. You people who told me that Fourth Wing was like the holy grail, why? Why did you lie to me? Look, if you love Fourth Wing, if you clicked on this video and you're like, yay, like, I saw Fourth Wing in the title and I can't believe, and I can't wait for her to review it because I love that. Skip this section because I'm going to talk so much smack. Oh my gosh. I hated this book. What? If you like Fourth Wing, like, all power to you. Who am I to shit on your favorite book? Like, if you love it, I love that for you. We have different book tastes and that's fine. I would like to know though, like, why? Like, what about it for you made it the best book? Out of all the books you read, it made it your favorite book. Why? What about it? Because surely it can't be the characters. Surely it can't be the plot. Surely it can't be the romance. And it can't be the dragons. I mean, so much of this book, I was reading it and I was like, what part about this book did people like? Because for me, everything about it was like something sinister. And there were people who said like, oh, like, it's okay, like, it's not the best, but like it's pretty good. What were the redeeming qualities, y'all? Let me get comfortable. What were the redeeming qualities? What about it? You were sitting here and you were like, yeah, like, it's not the best, but like, it's okay. This book follows main character Violet Sorengale, whose mother is like the general of an army. I'm not sure if she is the general of the Dragon Riders or just the army in general. It's very unclear, but Violet has come of age and she is going to become a Dragon Rider because her mom's forcing her. She doesn't want to, because she's very weak and frail. And don't worry, the book will tell you that she's petite, tiny, white, weak, and frail every single page. Every page. I wish I had it on me to just open up and like just like pick any page, because guarantee it will tell you that she has like glass bones and paper skin. And that if the wind, you know those videos, I don't know if anyone has seen those videos of, it's like YN and she's like a gray like alien and like whoever is like will come home like, I'm home, YN, and she just like falls over and is like screaming,
YN.
Oh, hi, Levi! Wow! Levi! You're so strong!
That's the main character. Let me give you the synopsis and stop hating. Okay. She has to become a Dragon Rider. In the Dragon Riders, it's like a really dangerous thing. And so she has to go. Of course, she ends up getting into the Dragon Squadron. She like passes this big test called the parapet where you have to like climb a mountain in like the pouring rain. I think I'll make a whole video where I yap about this because I don't want to like just sit and literally rant about Fourth Wing, but it was, she gets there, she's at the military school, and her best friend Dane is there, and he wants her, and then her enemy, who wants to kill her because her mom killed his dad when they had this like the country went through this like civil war. I guess it was like a rebellion, and this guy Xaden, his dad was like the leader of the rebellion, and her mom killed him. Violet's mom killed him, and so he wants to kill her. He wants to even the score. Why he's allowed in the most prolific area of the military school, I'm not sure. They try to explain it saying like, well, they might die, but it's like if they don't, then they're like generals and they have weapons of mass destruction, which is a dragon. Whatever. I don't have more to give you because there's not more plot. It's over 400 pages of Violet talking about how weak and like baby she is, and like flirting, mind fucking Xaden the whole book. And that's not a spoiler, because chapter 1, she's salivating over Xaden. You find out that Xaden is her man, her baby daddy. Not really, but chapter 1, when she talks about how the muscles on his neck make her want to swallow. That is a real quote. That's forever burned into my brain. That is a real quote. There's no redeeming qualities of this book. Like, genuinely, at this point, like, I finished it because I was hate reading. I was sitting there reading it. I couldn't stop because of how I was like, there's no way this is real. I think my biggest problem I had with it, because I could sit here and literally yap about how much was wrong with this book. The characters, it was as if, okay, you know when you're playing pretend with your friends and you're like in 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th, whatever, and like you keep making stuff up to like be cooler. So like someone's like, oh, like I have like really long black hair, and you're like, oh, like I want to be cool too. So you're like, well, I have armor made of, I'm a dragon rider. I have armor made of dragon scales, and also the tips of my hair are silver, and I don't get one dragon, I get 2 dragons. And you're just like bouncing off each other. You just keep making stuff up to make you seem cooler. That was the book. That was the whole book. And it was so plot, going from the Poppy War and like last night at the Telegraph Club, which was peak. Oh my god, it was peak. Where like the Poppy War, no plot convenience. I think R.F. Kuang believes in plot inconvenience, as a matter of fact. Going from that to every single thing that was handed to this girl, everything it was handed to her, was sickening. It was sickening. Not only that, the plot, it was 400 pages of straight filler. There was an ounce of plot, and it was at the back, like maybe 50 pages of the book. The whole rest of the book, they just spent like effing around, like doing nothing, flirting with each other. Oh my god. And the chemistry was so bad. That's the thing. I wouldn't have even minded. I found out that this is what we call romantasy. I had heard about romantasy. I'd never like gotten into it. Not for me. And so I wouldn't have minded if it was romance, if it was good romance. But it wasn't. They had no, Xaden and Violet had no chemistry the whole book. Let me stop. Don't read this book. If you enjoy YA romance, and this, like, that might be the book for you. If you don't, and you know you don't really like YA romance, don't even pick up this book. Don't let the title of It's Fantasy, don't let it fool you, because it's not. I think I'll make a whole video. I think I will, because there's so much I have to say about this book, and I just can't sum it up in like a normal amount of time. Oh my god, I can't. Okay. The next book I freaking read was All Systems Down and Artificial Condition, which are part of the series The Murderbot Diaries by Martha Well. This copy I have was from Barnes & Noble, and it has both of the books inside of it, which I thought was really interesting. This is about our main character, who is a security unit robot, who has gone rogue. He's hacked the module that like encodes him, and he's just like up by himself, and he calls himself Murderbot. But instead of being like crazy and trying to like kill everyone, like he just is kind of chill. Like he just kind of wants to like hang out. Like he just wants to like watch TV. Like he downloaded a bunch of like TV on his files in his head and is like, I don't really want to talk to anybody. I just want to hang out. And the humans, he's hired to protect these humans. They're on a whole different planet and they're surveying the wildlife there. They're scientists. And these humans, they don't know that he's rogue. And he doesn't want them to because he's afraid they're going to report him and then he's going to just be either destroyed or like recoded so that he doesn't do that again. And he doesn't want that. But the thing is that like he keeps getting interrupted because things keep going awry. There's weird stuff going on with their maps where like pieces of the maps are just like cut out. Their communication system is down because there's another team of humans who are on the other side of the planet and they're not responding to any of like the missives they've been sending. And so he kind of has to like take control because this is what he's hired to do, is to make sure that at the end of the day his clients are safe and their safety is failing. But he doesn't want to, and he's like, I just want to watch TV, y'all. Like, stop trying to talk to me, stop trying to be like nice to me, like just let me sit in my room and watch TV. Of course that doesn't work out. And I thought it was really funny. He's very cynical. This is sci-fi, which I was very surprised that I loved it as much as I did, because I don't usually like sci-fi. I usually find sci-fi so like boring, which is crazy because you'd think like it would be exciting, but I find it so boring because the world doesn't interest me. Like I feel like with fantasy and stuff like that, the world is always so interesting, but with sci-fi it's like most of the time it's connected in some way to Earth and it's like, oh, you have a hologram, cool, I don't care. Oh, your doors are metal and they glow fluorescent blue, I don't care. But this was really fun. I think it also helped that it was on like a different planet, and it also kind of helps that the world building wasn't actually that good. Weirdly enough, like it works for it because, how do I explain this? Like it was more focused on Murderbot and the relationships he was making with his clients and he himself, how he was transitioning into being more social. And it's really honestly a book about humanity, in my opinion, because he likes to think, Murderbot likes to think that he is like has no ounce of humanity in him and within him because he is a robot and he is encoded. But as the series goes on, and this really does pick up, I think, in Artificial Conditions, All Systems Red was pretty okay, but it is like an establishment of Murderbot and he's in like the first stages of becoming independent. And as in Artificial Condition, you really see him start to understand that like he does have a humanity to him, and it's really sweet and it's really heartwarming, and I think it's really, really cute. I don't know if the category like cozy, like I know there's like cozy fantasy, but like this, in my opinion, is like cozy sci-fi. Of course he is still like on a mission and there's still like stuff going on, but like it's really just vibes. I know I already said that. It's really just vibes. Like the plot is really chill and really easy to understand. Everything's chill. No, the plot is really easy to understand. Like the characters are really fun, and Murderbot is cool. I do think that overall, like there probably could have been a little bit more detail, but like this is a book that's 144 pages for the first one, and then the second one's maybe like 150. How much can they really develop the plot? And it was fine. Like it wasn't something that really took me out of it, because like I said, like most of the focus was on the characters, and I loved that. I thought it was so good. It's like I've never read anything like this before. Most sci-fi is from the perspective of humans who are in this sci-fi world and going against this, being in the perspective of a robot who is very logic brain and kind of funny, and like it was so interesting. And especially in the second book, because in the second book, in what's it called, Artificial Condition, he's more communing with another robot who's helping him, and it's, oh my gosh, it's so good. It was so fun. and they're very easy to read. I would definitely recommend this if you are in a reading slump, because it's not emotionally taxing, it's not long, it's easy to get and easy to read, and it's something fun. Like I personally, I can't wait to get the third book. Like, I'm so excited. I'm planning it already. I went to Barnes & Noble to buy it. Couldn't find it, but it was so wonderful. So after the first 2 books in the Murderbot Diaries, I read Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, which I think everybody kind of like, I don't know. I feel like Sally Rooney is a very popular writer. Like, everybody knows Normal People, which I read last year. Everybody knows Conversations with Friends. I really liked this book. This is about a girl called Frances who is a poet, and she has her best friend and ex-girlfriend, Bobby, who they kind of have a sort of complicated relationship where they are best friends, but they do know each other so well. Like, they were girlfriends, they broke up, and then they were just so close that they never had space away from each other. Like, they just became best friends after that. So they do things that maybe hurt each other, because there's a lot of feelings there where you're best friends, but you're also a little bit more. And they meet this couple, this kind of older couple, who are sort of semi-famous. The wife is like a famous photographer, and the husband, Nick, what is the wife's name? Oh my gosh, guys, don't smite me. I think it's Miranda, but I'm not sure. I have to find it. Melissa. That's so rude. The wife, Melissa, and the Nick husband. The wife is the photographer. Nick is a kind of like on the DL actor. He was in a few shows, but it's mostly local plays. Like, they're not by any means world famous. I think they're just kind of like public figures. It takes place in Dublin, Ireland, which, y'all, as soon as I see Ireland, like, I'm picking up the book. I don't know what it is. Ireland to me is what Japan is to middle-aged freaks. That was rude. You guys know what I mean. Discord mods. I saw Dublin, Ireland. I was like, yeah, that's enough. That's all I need to know. I picked it up, and it was really good. Frances sort of has a crush on this husband, Nick, and Bobby sort of has a crush on Melissa, and Frances and Nick end up having an affair. This is not a spoiler. This is on the back of the book. Okay, it's spoiler free, y'all. I need to stop doing that. But they end up having an affair. And it's really an exploration of relationships and how not communicating and not saying what you want to say is your biggest weapon, is your biggest like enemy. And it was so interesting to read. I think that's the thing with a lot of Sally Rooney books, and I think a lot of lit fic, honestly, where in concept, like when you're telling it, it seems like it's boring, but it's so interesting, and I couldn't put it down because the way that Frances operated, the way she saw herself and the way she saw other people made me just feel like, wow, it really makes you think of your perception of yourself and how others may see you. And also, quite frankly, I thought it was so interesting how she acted towards other people, how she acted out when said things that she didn't mean, just to feel like she had some type of power, because at the end of the day, she's in this affair where she has no power over the relationship. She is the side piece, and he is older than her, not by much. I mean, she's in college and he's, I think, maybe in his like 30s. She's kind of like almost done, like 21. Still a little old in my opinion, but I thought it was so good. It was so interesting. The one thing I do think about Sally Rooney is that she writes all of her characters to be these like tortured writers, and I would love to see her do something else. Like, I'm really interested. I want to read Intermezzo, which is her newest release. But I am nervous because I feel like I've read Normal People and I've read Conversations with Friends, and I like the characters, but I feel like they all kind of fall into the same category of very tortured writer, like poets and writers, and I would like to see something new. I'd like to see her write other types of characters. This book, anyways, was so wonderful. Like, it's so good. The things that people say about Sally Rooney, believe them. Because Sally Rooney is a genius writer. The way she writes relationships and toxic relationships, especially, that just are doomed. So good. So good. So the next book that I read was Daisy Jones and the Sixth by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I haven't read a lot of her other works. I know that she wrote Malibu Rising. What is the other one? Carrie Soto is back, and also I think she wrote The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I had been really wanting to read this for a long time. It had been on my list because I was really on, what's it called? Book Talk, when I was getting back into reading and when I downloaded Goodreads and all that and put stuff on my TBR and all that. But I will say I didn't like this book. It is about a band in the 1970s. This is not a real band, but it's very inspired by Fleetwood Mac, who I love, and a lot of other bands in that, like rock and roll bands in that area. It's obviously about this girl, Daisy Jones, who joins a band that was already kind of semi-famous, and they destroy each other. You know, the main singer of the band, Billy Dunn, he has a wife and a child, and he struggles with drug addiction. And he's a very explosive, headstrong character, and so is Daisy. And so they butt heads, and they're making music, good music that everybody loves, but behind the scenes, they are falling apart. Especially, I mean, there's tensions in the band. The bass player's beefing with Billy, and the other people they have a relationship, but like it's falling apart because they both want different things in life. And you know, you have Daisy who's coming in, and she's just like this headstrong person who's clashing heads with Billy, but they have this passion because they're making art and writing music together. And it obviously, when you're in that creative space, it's very easy to have a passion for one another. And Billy is married, so there's a whole other level of like forbiddenness, and that sounds interesting and exciting to read. Somehow she made this book boring. I was so bored. And honestly, I think it's because it was written like a screenplay. I didn't realize this. When I opened the book, I just read like the first few pages, and I kind of thought that this like interview type format was just like an introduction, and then Taylor was going to show the story and actually write the story. But it was just told through like screenplay like interviews, and that was so boring to me. It took me, every time I had to like read a new name and start a new line, I was taken out of the book, and it made me I was so tired. I would read like 3 pages and I'd be like sleepy, and I'd be struggling to get through this book. I was interested, of course, in what happened to the characters and how this band ended up breaking up, like, because there was so many factors of their dysfunction. I was so interested in like what was gonna be the nail in the coffin. But it was a boring read. I personally think that if you are interested in the story, watch the TV show. I watched the TV show on Amazon Prime, and it changed my life. I'm obsessed with the TV show. I'm obsessed with Daisy Jones and the Six, and I hate the source material, which I think is so crazy. The show did it better because you can, like, there's no way to really get immersed in this story when every single line you're sitting here and you're like, okay, you have to switch point of views. It took me out so much. But the show, you can sit down and you can watch it and you can just be in it. And I think that's what I like about reading, is that you can open the book and you can sit and watch it for 6 hours or read it for 6 hours. I couldn't do that with this book, and it was made it absolutely insufferable. It was one of those points where I felt like, oh, people who read books and they can't envision what they're reading, like, this must be what they're going through. Dude, my camera keeps cutting out because my storage is so taken up. I just deleted like 2,000 pictures and there's so many more, but I don't remember what I was saying. Bottom line, this book was really boring. Even though the concept was so interesting, seeing these people's lives fall apart, so interesting. The book was boring. Watch the show. I'm sure she gets money for you watching the show. You don't have to buy the book to support her. I don't know anything about her. I don't know why you would want to go out of your way to support her, but it is of my personal opinion that this book is not worth your money. And neither is Fourth Wing. Don't buy Fourth Wing. If you're gonna read it online. Because I'm pretty sure Rebecca Yarros is like kind of evil, so I will never stop hating. Oh my god, I never talk this much. I'm so winded. 2 more books, y'all. I read The Stranger by Albert Camus. I read it for school, and it is about a guy who, it's a classic, it's old. It's about a guy living in Algeria. I think Algeria. He's French because they have a French colony there. And he does not give a rat's a-hole about anything. And he shoots somebody and he kills them. And then he goes on trial and goes nuts. And that's the whole book. I remember reading it, and when I finished it, I just thought, like, okay. Like, I just closed the book and I was like, okay, now what? I'm supposed to write about this? I don't even have any, like, I have no opinions about this book. It is a work on existentialism. Albert Camus had this very interesting concept about the absurd man, who is somebody who is an existentialist, doesn't care about anything, doesn't view anything as, like, abnormal or scary, because in that absurd man's mind, he doesn't, like, nothing matters. And he wrote, obviously, a book where the main character, Marcel, is, the main character, and he is that absurd man. He doesn't care. He shoots somebody in cold blood. He doesn't GAF. And I think I can see how this book is very much the blueprint for a lot of different books arching over that. I even saw my favorite book, The Secret History. Very much themes from this classic are in that book, and in a lot of books as well. But I had this problem, which I have with a lot of classics, where it's like, okay, this is the blueprint, but I've read what was inspired by the blueprint and they're better. And so it's like, I don't have any feelings about it, because I don't necessarily have negative feelings, because it's like, yeah, this was the OG, this was the original. This book walked so others could run, but it's also like, since it's not like it, I don't have any feelings about it. I think if you want something that you could read in one sitting in 1 hour, yeah, go ahead. But I would probably like buy this. I'd probably get this from a library. I wouldn't buy it, or I'd read it online, because like it was okay. It was okay. Fun fact: this book, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, was inspired by this book. So in other ways where this book was not that good, but the art it inspired was very interesting, very good. So short. Literally a 1-minute review, because I have nothing to say. It was like, I closed it. I can't even stress this enough. I closed this, I felt nothing. I was like, okay. Next. The last book so far in these 6 months that I have read was A Thread of Violence by Mark O'Connell. This was a book about, it's a nonfiction, which when I picked it up, I didn't know. because I didn't read the back. I read one paragraph, and I saw Dublin, Ireland, and I was like, yeah. I saw Dublin, Ireland, and I saw Murderer, who like changed things, and I was like, yeah, I'll pick it up. But I did not read the rest. But it was good. I don't know anything about murderers in Ireland. I didn't even know they had those. It's a joke. I didn't even know they had those. This is about Malcolm MacArthur, who apparently in Dublin is like a household name. It's like the Ted Bundy of like Dublin. He was a very like wealthy aristocrat who killed 2 people. This isn't a spoiler. I don't consider this a spoiler because this is real life, baby. You could have Googled this at any time. He kills 2 people because he wants to get money. He wants to rob a bank, and he needs a car and he needs a gun. And in the process of trying to get a car and a gun, he murders 2 people. Doesn't even end up robbing a bank. He tries to rob his friend. It doesn't work, and the guy doesn't even remember him. Embarrassing. But it was good. This is following Mark O'Connell, the author of this book, and he's interviewing and talking to Malcolm MacArthur a few years after Malcolm's release, and so he's kind of getting like an insight to it and to why the murders happened. It is very good. It's very interesting about how it commentates on class and how class changes the way we think, because at the end of the day, this book, Malcolm MacArthur killed people because he didn't want to get a job. He had a degree and he didn't want to get a job. So he thought, let me rob a bank. And in the process, he took the lives of 2 people who were lower class than him. And even though in the book, Malcolm denies that he is a snob, that he saw any type of like difference between the people that he murdered and him, it's kind of obvious that like, of course your class and your wealth are going to affect how you think and how you think of these people, because he killed these people kind of like without second thought. And I think that the book does a good job of illustrating how, of course, at the end of the day, this person is a human and does have remorse, but I don't feel bad for him. He killed 2 people. But it was a really interesting read. If you like true crime, I mean, I think it's like, yeah, it's 288 pages, or that's the notes. It's 277. And then there's 10 pages of like whatever in the back. And it was interesting. I couldn't put it down. I read this very fast because I just wanted to know more about the crimes. I wanted to know what Malcolm had to say. I wanted to know about the process where they were trying to catch him, and I got what I wanted. It was a bit inconclusive. I think that Malcolm is a very interesting person. He doesn't often tell the truth, and this book kind of leads you to, it does a good job at showing a lot of inconsistencies. There's a lot of times in this book where Malcolm will say something, the press will say something, and then Malcolm will say, no, absolutely not, that didn't even happen, or no, it didn't happen that way, that was just kind of the press like spinning it out of control. And then you see different reports that are very conflicting from his mother or family friends or something like that, that lets you lead your own conclusions about what's true and what's not. And I liked that, because at the end of the day, like, I think Mark O'Connell knows, and I hope that other people know, that this person, Malcolm MacArthur, like, he has his biases and he has to psychologically explain his decisions away, because he killed 2 people. And he wants to believe, of course, everybody wants to believe that they're a good person, they do things with reason. So a lot of the truth is warped, and it just, like, of course there's going to be conflictions. And so it does, I liked that it didn't necessarily tell me what to think, but it showed me a lot of the conflictions and let me form my own opinion. I enjoyed that. It was a good book. I thought I thought it was a good book, and it was interesting. I'm so scared of reading nonfiction because a lot of the time, oh my god, I'm so bored, but this was really good. Even though I accidentally like catfished my way into it. Recommend. If you're, this is another, like, I feel like a reading slump book where it's like, it's super short, super easy, and super interesting. That's what you need to get a reading. Oh my god, let me try again. How that stroke is. I think that's what you need to get out of a reading slump at the end of the day. Short, quick, fun. Anyways, that is pretty much it. It's what I read so far this year. So many more books that I want to try to get through. I really want to try to get through my like TBR. I won't get through all of it, but I can hope. Yeah, so many more books that I want to read this year. I'm super excited, and I'm excited to have this channel. I'm hoping that I get a little bit less camera shy and a little bit less scared to be loud. I have this weird fear that I'm gonna talk too loud and everyone's gonna in my house is gonna be like outside the door listening. So see you next time. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I was good background noise. Bye.